Sophie, I don't mind falling sick if I can be your patient. Stop spouting nonsense. All of us should stay healthy. Her purpose of becoming a doctor wasn't to treat them. Yeah, Isabel, what's up with you today? Why is she talking about falling sick when everything is perfectly fine? Isn't it nice to live a healthy and carefree life? Isabel realized she had slipped up. Oh, I misspoke. Touch wood. Nothing bad's going to happen. Felix began feeling nervous. He liked Isabel and wanted her to be safe and healthy. Isabel did as he instructed. Don't come looking for us doctors if you feel fine, Arias said. But as luck would have it, I'll be here if any of you get sick, so don't worry. His credentials as a professor were certainly impressive. Honestly, Sophie, Mr. Tristan isn't getting any younger here. I thought both of you would tie the knot after your graduation, but finishing medical school will take at least 5 years. You wouldn't consider pursuing a PhD like Arias, would you? Tristan would stay a bachelor for the next 10 years if that were the case. You're too cruel toward Mr. Tristan. Felix felt compelled to raise these concerns as Tristan's close friend. Sophie shot Tristan a look. Will you wait for me? He returned her gaze squarely and unflinchingly. The rest of my life is yours. No matter how long you would take to complete your studies, I'll wait for you. It's 10 years, Mr. Tristan. Will you still be able to sire children by then? That was a valid question. Tristan swept his gaze across Felix without a word, and the latter flinched timidly. How could you not think before speaking, Felix? Are you doubting Uncle Tristan? He's still young and virile. He will be able to wait 20 years, let alone 10. Isabel came to Tristan's defense. Sophie was a genius. She would undoubtedly pursue a PhD, and she'd probably even achieve more than Arias. Arias laughed. Yes, Sophie is destined to be a doctor. Her accomplishments will surely surpass mine. Her talents should never be held back by love. Felix shrugged. Whatever. He started to pity Tristan. Charles chuckled. Mr. Tristan, despite being the first among us to fall in love, you'll probably be the last to marry. Sean nodded his assent. However, waiting is worth it if you can be with the person you love, he reflected poignantly. It's about time you let go, Sean. There is plenty of fish in the sea. Can't you look for another one? Why is he insisting on waiting for someone who will never return? You would never understand. There was no way he would settle for someone else after he had found the most important person in his life, for his heart already belonged to her. Sean is in love with someone? Sophie was curious after hearing what Charles said, since no one had mentioned anything about it. It's a one-sided love. What? Sean was normally aloof and reserved, so it was quite surprising to find out that he was experiencing unrequited love. That's right. It's indeed a one-sided love. Tristan would tell her anything she wished to know. But why are you suddenly so concerned about Sean? He asked. Sophie would only show mild interest in Sean out of the 4 of them. I just think he's an intriguing character. I can't help being interested in him. Intriguing. Don't read too much into it. It's just pure curiosity. Tristan wasn't overthinking, but he didn't like it when she paid too much attention to other people. That was what one would call possessiveness. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Sean didn't feel like talking about his love life. At the same time, he had no idea how the woman he loved was doing. He had promised never to disturb her life, and that was why he had never set foot in Anglander for so many years. However, he had always been waiting, believing that she would come back to him one day. Sean is quite a loyal man, Sophie commented ruefully. Indeed he is. Truth be told, nothing really happened between him and that woman, but he just couldn't seem to forget about her. Frankly, Sean, I admire your devotion. Isabel sighed. I don't know when I'll meet my Prince Charming, but I hope he's as steadfast as you are. Felix couldn't help but roll his eyes. Isn't her Prince Charming sitting right next to her? How could she not see that? She's basically blind. They made their way to Nocturnal after dinner, and Sean had been imbibing more than usual that night. He was always reticent, so seeing him drown his emotions in alcohol had the rest sympathizing with him. "Are you okay?" Sophie wasn't a nosy person, but after all, Sean had once done her a favor, so she was concerned about him. He handed her a glass of liquor. "Don't take happiness for granted, Sophie. Some people may never find it again after losing it. I regret letting go." He might not be in this situation at that moment if he hadn't let go back then. Unfortunately, he was too young and too proud, thus finding himself in this quandary at present. One that no one could solve. Go to her if you can't let her go. Perhaps she's waiting for you, too. One of you has to compromise first in a stalemate. Would you if you were in my shoes? Would you put your pride aside and go to Mr. Tristan if you were separated from him one day? Sean asked, curious. Sophie was a proud individual. Would she lay her pride aside for love? I doubt that day will come because I'll never leave him. The more time she spent with him, the more certain she was of her love for Tristan. She would never let go of him since she loved him that much. You are very resolute. I'm envious of Mr. Tristan. You don't have to. You can find happiness once you forego your pride and go to her. Everyone's definition of happiness varied, but in spite of everything, one could only have a chance at happiness by taking that first step. Sophie returned to Tristan's side after her conversation with Sean. Sophie, you're paying too much attention to Sean. She had never shown such a level of interest in Felix and Charles. Am I? She took a seat beside him. We only exchanged a few words. You are. Are you going to pursue a PhD? Felix was right. He wasn't getting any younger. She would be 28 years old in 10 years. And he would be older. Would she still be attracted to a middle-aged man like me by then? Sophie cradled his face with both hands. Why? What are you thinking? Don't worry. Even if I were to pursue a PhD, I won't need 10 years to complete it. That's true. Sophie wouldn't take 10 years to earn a PhD. Tristan smiled as he realized how foolish he was. How did I forget that she's a genius? Meanwhile, Clayton brought Willow to Nocturnal again. He didn't even bother to check if she had recovered since he was desperate. Lately, many things were becoming unfavorable for him. His reputation would be ruined if this continued. It was not easy for Clayton to attain his current status. He would do anything to maintain his reputation. Willow followed behind Clayton and no longer knew what to say to him. Now, the only thing on Clayton's mind was to meet Sophie. What he didn't know was that Sophie was ignoring him on purpose. Therefore, it was pointless for them to come to the bar. Clayton, must you meet Sophie? Hearing that, Clayton stopped in his tracks. Willow, didn't I ask you to be on good terms with Sophie? You didn't do as I asked, did you? Things wouldn't have gotten to this point if she did as I asked. Sophie is not going to go easy on me at all. I did, Clayton. It's just that Sophie never likes me from the start. Hearing that made Willow felt wronged. She swallowed her pride only to help Clayton. But in the end, he reprimanded her. There's nothing I can do anymore, Clayton. I'll wait for you here. You should go in by yourself. Willow refused to enter the bar. She felt embarrassed to see Sophie. It was embarrassing for her to ask for favors from someone she hated. Hearing that, Clayton grabbed her hand immediately. How can I possibly go in alone? Hey, don't throw tantrums. I don't like girls who do that. As he spoke, he pulled Willow into the bar. Isabel and Sophie were discussing the former's new song when the two came in. It was Isabel who noticed Clayton and Willow first. Your sister and brother-in-law are here. How can someone be so shameless? Can they stop this? Sophie did not even look up at them. What do you mean? I don't have a brother-in-law. That jerk, Clayton, has nothing to do with me. Isabel stuck out her tongue then said, All right. I shouldn't have said that. Naturally, Tristan and the rest saw Clayton and Willow. Arius couldn't help but laugh. These two look perfect for each other. I agree. Willow had never thought of Sophie as a sister. There's no need to sympathize with her. She is the one who allows others to exploit her willingly. Clayton must feel extremely anxious now. Watch out just in case he resorts to using extreme methods, Sean reminded Tristan. Prevention was always better than cure. Okay. Tristan wasn't worried for himself, but he was worried about Sophie's safety. I've already asked someone to guard Sophie. Don't worry. Darn it, if he dares to harm Sophie, I'll kill him, Arius said ruthlessly. He wouldn't allow anyone to harm Sophie. Just ignore them. Tristan decided to let Clayton be for another few days. This time, it would be the end of Clayton. Clayton and Willow sat on the side. However, it was difficult for Clayton to approach them, seeing how the group ignored him. Tristan would not bother to spare his dignity. Thus, he would only be humiliated if he approached them now. Meanwhile, Willow glanced at Sophie. Everyone around Sophie was exceptionally remarkable. This made Willow envious of her. What did she do to deserve all this? Willow had never considered herself lesser than Sophie. However, the treatment that Sophie got was enough to make Willow lose it. Even so, there was nothing she could do now but watch Sophie shine. It was a terrible feeling. Come on, let's head back. Sophie got tired after staying at Nocturnal for a long time. Okay. Arius and the rest got up after knowing the two were leaving. The group walked past Clayton and Willow when they were exiting the bar. Nonetheless, nobody greeted Clayton. The two of them were nothing to them. After Clayton saw them leave, he started to drink faster. He had never been so afraid before. But now, he was terrified. Sophie told him she would make sure he was sent to prison. Knowing how unsparing Sophie was, she would definitely do whatever she said. Moreover, she had Tristan covering for her. Clayton didn't want to go to jail. He felt his life would be over once he was imprisoned. Willow got scared after she saw Clayton drinking heavily. She didn't even dare to make a sound. At that moment, Clayton's face turned grim to the point that it was frightening. Willow never truly understood Clayton. Clayton, let's annul our engagement if you don't like me. Willow felt something was off. If Tristan plans to destroy Clayton, it will be impossible for him to make a comeback. She would look silly if she still hang on to him. Clayton burst into laughter after hearing that. Clayton, I know you don't like me. If so, why don't we call off our engagement? I'm still young. I think it's too early for me to get married. Willow was filled with regrets and was afraid. She never thought Clayton would be such a scary man. Suddenly, Clayton grabbed Willow by the hair and pulled her toward him. What did you say? Who do you take me for, Willow? Do you think I'll cancel our engagement because you say so? Do you think your words are that important? Willow felt her scalp hurt since Clayton exerted his strength. With tears welling in her eyes, Willow said, I'm sorry, Clayton. I shouldn't have said that. Please forgive me and let me go. It must be true that Clayton's life will be over soon. Dream on, Willow. Let me tell you something. Even if my life is over, I'll drag you down with me. He would not be kind enough to let her go. Willow was filled with despair when she heard that. This man in front of her was a demon. While she naively thought that he could bring her happiness, Willow's tears angered Clayton. So, he gave her a tight slap across her face. Stop crying. I'm not dead yet. You're pissing me off. His slap was so powerful that the corner of Willow's mouth was bleeding. There were many people at Nocturnal, but nobody stepped up for Willow. In Gypsdale, Clayton was a terrifying existence. Thus, nobody dared to come forward. Clayton was not ready to give up, so he went to TS Entertainment to see Sophie the next day. He waited for Sophie outside TS Entertainment's building for over 2 hours. When he saw her coming out, he quickly went to stop her. Sophie, I'll do whatever you want. Let's talk. Things had been a torment for Clayton lately. He felt his life would really be over if it continued. Sophie frowned upon hearing that. Get out of my way. What's there to talk about between us? Sophie, no matter what conditions you have, I will agree to all of them. I'm begging you. Please give me a chance. At that moment, Clayton was overwhelmed with fear and hopelessness. Sorry. I don't like to negotiate. What does he have? I'm not interested in anything he has to offer, so he doesn't even have the right to negotiate with me. Sophie. Clayton reached out and tried to grab Sophie's shoulders. The next moment, Sophie grabbed the man's shoulders instead and threw him on the ground. After being slammed against the ground, Clayton could feel himself aching all over. However, as there were reporters around, he could not show that he was in pain. As such, he had no choice but to get back on his feet. Sophie, why did you have to do that? No one had ever dared to embarrass him in that way. If it was before, he would definitely make sure that whoever did that to him suffered a fate worse than death. However, given the current circumstances, he had no choice but to endure it. That's why I told you not to appear in front of me. Sophie walked away after saying that. Tristan was waiting for her at the side. When he saw Sophie, he got out of the car immediately to open the car door for her, and he closed the door after she had entered the car. What's the matter? Did Clayton approach you again? Yup. I've already handed over all the evidence to the police. It's just a matter of time before the police arrest him. Sophie swore to herself that she would not give Clayton any chance. All right. Let's just wait and see what Clayton will do about the situation. A few of Clayton's companies had already been sequestrated by the authorities, so the man was probably driven to the verge of desperation. I should be the one handling such matters. After all, Sophie was still a woman, and Tristan could not help but worry about her when she dealt with such things on her own. It's fine. Dealing with Clayton is just a piece of cake. It's not challenging at all. He's a fool to think that no one would find out about his wrongdoings. As long as it's something I want to know, I'll be able to find out about it no matter what. You have to be careful of Willow. You shouldn't let your guard down just because she's a woman. There are lots of crazy women out there. Besides, Willow is definitely not a good person. Don't worry. She's definitely no match for me when it comes to being crazy. Willow has probably learned her lesson this time around. Word has it that she got a beating from Clayton last night. Both of them aren't good person, so she only has herself to blame for everything that has happened. Meanwhile, it was already late at night when Willow returned home the previous night. Therefore, Charmaine did not notice anything wrong with her. However, seeing that it was already almost 11 a.m. and Willow was still in bed, Charmaine could not help heading upstairs to check on her out of concern. Only then did she notice Willow's swollen face. Willow, what happened to your face? Who did this to you? Charmaine walked toward her daughter's bed and saw how badly swollen the young lady's face was. Willow burst into tears at once. Mom, I don't want to marry Clayton anymore. He's too terrifying. Willow was filled with regret. She was blinded by love previously. When she was together with Mason in the past, Mason had never treated her that way, although he did not have any feelings for her. I can't believe Clayton would hit me. What? It was Clayton who hit you. If it was someone else, Charmaine would have been able to do something to help her daughter get back at them. However, given that it was Clayton who did that, there was simply nothing she could do. Willow, since you've agreed to the engagement yourself, it's not that easy to break it off. Besides, the entire Gypsdale is already aware that you are Clayton's fiancé. If you call off the engagement now, it would be extremely difficult for you to marry into a good family next time. Mom, he hit me. No one has ever done that to me. Tears streamed down Willow's face as she spoke. It was impossible for her to live such a life. But what can we do? As you know, our family is no match for Clayton. She has to be responsible for her own choice. Mom, please help me. I will die if this carries on. I'm still young, and I don't want to die yet. Besides, if I'm dead, who can you depend on? Charmaine hugged Willow and said, All right, I understand. I'll plead with Sophie. I'm sure she can do something about it. Sophie is probably the only person who can help Willow now. Mom, Sophie is better than me in every way, right? At that moment, Willow felt like a complete failure. That's enough. Stop thinking so much and get some rest at home. I'll go look for Sophie. However, before Charmaine could leave, Clayton arrived. The door swung open, and Clayton entered the house. When Charmaine saw the man, she could not help but tremble in fear. Mr. Zales, what brings you here? Charmaine was not expecting his arrival. Willow, pack up your things. We are going to collect our marriage certificate now. Clayton was unable to wait any longer. As things were already beyond his control, he could only pin his hope on them. Willow shook her head and replied, "No, I don't want to marry you. You're a monster. I'm not going to marry a monster." To her, the man was like a devil from hell that gave her the creeps. A crease appeared between Clayton's brows when he heard that. Willow, be good. Don't make me angry. You should know the consequences of provoking me. I'm sure you won't want to experience it again, Clayton threatened. Come over and help my fiancé get changed. Willow was curled up on her bed as she exclaimed, "Clayton, I've told you that I don't want to marry you. Don't come near me. Mom, save me." Willow was in utter despair at that moment. Charmaine was about to step forward when she was held back by Clayton's men. "Mrs. Tanner, you had better stay put. Otherwise, you are going to suffer." "Clayton, what are you doing? Willow doesn't want to marry you. You can't force her." No matter what, Willow was Charmaine's favorite daughter. As such, although she was scared, she still had to stand up for her girl. "Mrs. Tanner, if I remember correctly, you have agreed to the marriage voluntarily. Do you think it's possible for you to call it off now?" Clayton had finally lost his patience. "Pull her aside." Charmaine struggled to break free, but with two muscular men grabbing her, she was not able to move even an inch. "Clayton, if you do this, Sophie will not let you off. It's all Sophie's fault. If she had not offended this man, Willow would not have had to endure all of this." Clayton lost composure when he heard Charmaine's words. The next moment, he grabbed the chair next to him and hurled it at the woman. "Don't mention Sophie in front of me. That woman ruined my life. How dare she mention that woman's name?" Charmaine turned pale from the pain when she was hit by the chair. "Clayton, you must be scared of Sophie, aren't you? If you're not, you should be taking revenge on her instead of attacking us." Willow yelled in despair. "Why? I'm spot on, right? You are afraid of Sophie." Clayton walked up to Willow and grabbed her hair. "Everything you said is true, but so what? Do you think Sophie will come to save you? Don't forget that you're enemies with her," he enunciated. Willow was overwhelmed by despair upon hearing his words. Since the man was yanking on her hair, she was forced to tilt her head back. Tears streamed down her face. She bit her lip hard, loathing the fact that Sophie was her sister. "If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be experiencing everything I'm going through today. All this is her fault. Change her clothes and take her away." Clayton ordered his subordinates, releasing his grip on her hair. "Please wait for a moment, sir." Clayton's assistant and bodyguards were all males, but no one was bothered about such a thing right then. They stepped forward and stripped Willow's pajamas off before donning a dress on her. At first, Willow put up a fight, but she gradually stopped resisting, for she knew that the more she struggled, the more she would suffer. After all, Clayton hadn't the slightest regard for her. When Willow had finished changing, Clayton strolled over to Charmaine. "Give me the household registry." Charmaine trembled violently, yet she was fully aware that she couldn't possibly hand the household registry over to him. If Willow were to really marry him today, her life would be over. Upon receiving no response from her even after a long time had passed, Clayton grew disgruntled. "Don't make me repeat myself. Give me the household registry. I'm going to register my marriage with Willow now, so don't waste my time." Willow pinned her eyes on Charmaine. "Mom, In response, Charmaine shook her head. This is against the law, Clayton. You're forcing someone into marriage. What's the big deal about that? I've even killed someone. Charmaine fell silent, not daring to argue further. How could I allow my daughter to marry a murderer? No way. I'm never giving you the household registry even if it means my death. Hearing that, Clayton took a deep breath. I wanted to be kind, but since you wouldn't give me that opportunity, I'm left with no other choice. Make her hand over the household registry. He didn't want to waste any more time. Meanwhile, Charmaine kept backing away. Alas, they would never let her off the hook. At that precise moment, the police arrived. By then, they had already surrounded the Tanner residence. This is bad. The police are here. What should we do? Wilbur inquired nervously after spotting the police officers outside. Relief suffused Charmaine when she heard that the police had arrived. Damn it! Clayton never expected the police to arrive so quickly. You should leave quickly, Clayton. You'll be doomed if you get caught by the police. He has got tons of money, so if he leaves now, he can still flee abroad and live a lavish life. But if he gets arrested by the police, it'll be the end for him. Seizing Willow, Clayton sneered. Do you think I can still get away now? Hadn't I told you this? Even if I were to die, I'd drag you down to hell with me. Sophie caused me to end up in such a pathetic state. Do you think I'd spare her family? You know full well that she has never regarded me as her family. If she really regards me as her family, would you have ended up in such a situation today? Willow found the situation hilarious. He's such a smart person, so why is he still ignorant to this moment? Is that so? Then, let me conduct a test and see exactly how cold-blooded she is. I shall see whether she'll turn a blind eye to her family. Listen up. We have already surrounded this place. Drop your weapons. Charmaine had never seen such a scene, so she was scared out of her wits. What are you doing, Clayton? Let Willow go. You're breaking the law. Glimpsing Clayton's maniacal expression, Charmaine was truly worried that he would hurt Willow. What should we do now? Wilbur hadn't expected things to end up in such a manner either. Oh God, this is just too terrifying. How would I know? Why did the police come? Sophie must have handed the evidence to them. Otherwise, why would they come here to arrest me at this time? How about we go out and explain things to the police? We'll tell them that everything was an accident. We can't really murder someone, can we? Do you think they'll believe me? All right, stop prattling. Seize them both. From the look of things now, I've got no choice but to leave Gypsdale. Listen up. You've already been surrounded. Release the hostages at once. Downstairs, the police were still shouting. To Clayton, however, that was no different from a death sentence. Go over and close the door. The police had no idea about the situation upstairs, so they asked the housekeeper downstairs. Officer, Mrs. Tanner and Ms. Tanner are still upstairs. Are they in any danger? After the police learned which room the suspect and hostages were in, they plunged into a dilemma. Ultimately, they were in the dark about the situation in the room. Thus, they were worried about hurting the hostages if they were to barge in recklessly. Just then, Yale came home. When he knew what had happened, his face drained of all color. Is there some misunderstanding here, officer? Clayton is my soon-to-be son-in-law. There's absolutely no need for him to kidnap his own fiancée and mother-in-law, no. Even then, he still couldn't believe the truth that was right in front of his eyes. Your soon-to-be son-in-law is a murderer, yet you find him satisfactory. The police officer scoffed. Does he think he can do whatever he pleases just because he has money? Dream on. As long as someone has violated the law, we'll bring him to justice no matter how long it takes. What? Yale was entirely floored. He then stammered. Then what should we do now? We'll send someone to negotiate with the suspect. The most important thing now is to save the hostages, then apprehend the suspect. Yale was exceedingly worried that things would go awry. Besides, he was a rather cowardly person. Hence, he phoned Sophie. "Something bad has happened at home, Sophie. Hurry up and come back." At that moment, the only person in the family he could rely on seemed to be Sophie alone. After hanging up the phone, Sophie got to her feet. Seeing that, Mark queried in concern, "What's wrong? Did something happen?" "I'll go with you." "No, it's okay. Just continue rehearsing. I've got to make a trip home." Considering the matter in question, he won't be able to help anyway. Furthermore, there might even be unnecessary complications because he's highly popular right now. "I want to go with you, Sophie. No matter what it is, I want to face it with her. There's just a bit of a problem at home, Mark. It's really inappropriate for you to tag along. That aside, there might even be reporters there right now. Truly, it isn't appropriate for him to go with me." "All right then." Subsequently, Sophie drove Sonny's car back to the Tanner residence. When Yale caught sight of Sophie, he felt as though he had seen his savior. "Nice to meet you, Ms. Tanner. We're the police in this area. Presently, your sister and mother are in a room on the second floor. The suspect requests to meet with you." The hostages were still in the suspect's hands, so the police didn't dare do anything drastic. "Got it. I'll go upstairs right away." "For your safety, Ms. Tanner, I'd advise you not to do so. Just entrust this matter to the police." Although the suspect put forth this demand, this lady was the one who handed the evidence of Clayton Zale's crimes to us. Therefore, she'll be in danger if she were to go upstairs now. "It's okay. Don't worry, for I know what I'm doing. I'm not afraid of him. Instead, I'd like to see what else he wants from me. In that case, put on a bulletproof vest, Ms. Tanner. You'll have a layer of protection if the suspect is in possession of a weapon." "No, it's fine." At the end of her patience, Sophie strode right up the stairs. "Attention, everyone. Be on standby, and once there's an opportunity, take the suspect down at once." Initially, the plan was to arrest the suspect and bring him back to the station. But now that he poses a threat to others, we've got no choice but to eliminate him. But that's Clayton Zales. The Zales family is a prominent family in Gypsdale. If we were to shoot to kill, they'll probably demand an explanation. Lives are at stake here, so listen to me. If something really happens, I'll bear the responsibility alone. So what if he's a member of the Zales family? Clayton Zales committed a crime, so he still has to be arrested. At that exact moment, Eustace arrived. "Why are you here, Captain Shepard?" I don't think such a trivial case would be assigned to him. "Where's Sophie? Has she gone upstairs?" Eustace happened to overhear that something happened at the Tanner residence, so he immediately put everything aside and rushed over. Despite knowing that Sophie was pretty capable, he still couldn't help wanting to come over for a look at such a time. In truth, he hoped that he could be of some help. Yes. The suspect requested to see her. "Okay, got it. Right now, have your subordinates obey my directives." Mere moments after Eustace arrived, Tristan and Felix arrived as well. When Tristan didn't see any signs of Sophie in the living room, his expression darkened. "Where's Sophie? Who are you?" "This is a crime scene, and only authorized personnel are allowed," a police officer stated bluntly, for he didn't recognize Tristan. "Calm down, Mr. Tristan. Sophie is highly capable, so she'll be fine." He rushed over the instant he learned about the matter. "And he's currently looking grim, so he must be worried sick. I only want to know where she is right now." No matter how capable Sophie was, she was an ordinary woman to Tristan, and he didn't want to see her suffering the slightest harm. "She's upstairs. This man's aura is simply too strong that I can't handle him. Don't worry, Mr. Tristan. With me here, Sophie will be fine." Eustace once dined with them, so he was naturally aware of Tristan's relationship with Sophie. "I'll protect my woman myself." After saying that, Tristan made a beeline for the stairs. "I know you're anxious now, But you'd only anger Clayton if you were to go upstairs now. Let's wait for a bit more. Felix promptly held him back. Sophie isn't a brainless person. Since she dared to go in, I'm sure she has a way of getting back out. Meanwhile, Sophie had already entered the room bare-handed. At the sight of Charmaine on the floor, a frown marred her countenance. Clayton, on the other hand, cackled upon seeing that she had finally come. Do you find yourself incredibly capable, Sophie? I've already humbled myself and begged you, yet you still sabotaged me? You don't intend on leaving me any way out, right? How could you be so cruel? At that juncture, he was filled with rage. As he talked, he had his hand around Willow's neck. Willow had been beaten up badly, and she didn't say a single word even when she spotted Sophie. After all, there wasn't much she could say then. She couldn't possibly bring herself to admit that she had been blind in the past. After a long while, Charmaine finally reacted. Save us, Sophie. I know I hadn't shown you sufficient care in the past and was even biased. But no matter what, we're a family. Please save us. I know you're exceedingly capable. Don't come close to me. Prepare a car for me and take me away from here. Otherwise, I'll kill Willow. However, Sophie merely got herself a chair and sat down. In the face of such a situation, she remained calm and unruffled. Seeing that, even Charmaine was stunned. What are you doing, Sophie? Willow is your sister. You can't sit back and watch her die. Charmaine bellowed urgently. Can you please shut up? You've been rowdy ever since I arrived. Sophie detested noisy environments, finding them irritating beyond words. Charmaine was promptly struck dumb. Rage blazed within her. What kind of attitude is this? Unfortunately, she couldn't show her anger at that juncture. It looks like you still don't know me all that well after so long, Clayton. I don't like being threatened. Besides, my relationship with Willow has always been tense. What has her well-being got to do with me? Really? Since you're not at all concerned about her well-being, I'll just kill her. Clayton's eyes brimmed with bloodthirsty murderous intent. Sure. Go ahead if you so wish to do so. Anyway, the police are crawling all over the place outside. Make your move if you think you can escape, Sophie replied nonchalantly. Why, Sophie? Why must you target me like this? No reason. I merely find you displeasing to the eye. Is that a problem? Sophie was as arrogant, cocky, and domineering as ever. Wilbur almost fell to his knees before her. There must be some misunderstanding here, Ms. Tanner. Clayton merely wants to marry Ms. Tanner. Please explain things to the police. The man was on the verge of tears. All I wanted was to keep this job, but I never thought that it would escalate to murder. At the same time, despair inundated Clayton. He felt as though he had lost all hope. Are you saying that all this has been Clayton's doing and has nothing to do with you all? Needless to say, Sophie understood what Wilbur was trying to say. Wilbur and a few bodyguards who were around instantly nodded. This really has nothing to do with me. We aren't murderers. In this case, go downstairs. While you're at it, help bring Mrs. Tanner downstairs. That way, she won't affect my mood here. Don't you dare. Clayton had been beaten up by Sophie before, so he naturally knew the brutality of her methods. If he were to go through it again, he really couldn't guarantee that he would survive. We really didn't want things to get to this, but all we wanted was to make a living. After saying that, Wilbur hastily helped Charmaine up and went downstairs. Charmaine initially didn't want to leave, but at the look in Sophie's eyes, she had no choice but to follow the others downstairs. All right, we're finally the only ones left here. Willow is your fiancée, so go ahead if you want to kill her. Willow closed her eyes. From the very beginning, I'm destined to be the loser. No one cares about my well-being. But if you manage to escape today, I'll concede defeat. Clayton had never expected Sophie to be such a ruthless, merciless person. He had no idea what he should do at that moment. Sophie, you really are a cruel person. You don't even care about your own sister. Since you're adamant about making my life difficult, I'm going to make you bear the sin of harming your own sibling." With that, Clayton, who couldn't care less about the consequences, prepared to make his move on Willow. Willow closed her eyes in resignation. At that point, she had lost all hope. She only had herself to blame for this. If she hadn't thought that Clayton could give her everything she ever wanted, she would not have ended up like that. Willow's eyes were shut for quite a while, but as she waited, her impending death didn't befall her as she expected it to. While her eyes were still closed, Sophie had sent Clayton flying with a kick, and the gun in his hand fell to the ground. Clayton lunged toward it. That was the only thing that could ensure his safety and help him escape. He did not know how else he was going to leave the place if he didn't have that gun. However, as soon as Clayton was about to pick up the gun, Sophie nonchalantly kicked it to another side. "Clayton, why are you still making pointless struggles? Didn't I tell you that there's no way you're leaving this place today?" Since she had made up her mind to send the man to jail, she would definitely make that happen. Clayton tried to reach out for the gun again, but Sophie kicked it away again. She was blatantly toying with the man. Instead of picking up the gun, she kicked the gun around and made him go after it in desperation. Clayton's embarrassment turned into anger. "Sophie Tanner, you." Sophie lazily stretched her stiff muscles. "Yes, that's me." "What?" "Do spit out all of your threats at once," she said. She was never afraid of threats. Clayton gritted his teeth resentfully when he saw how unfazed Sophie was. "I'm going to kill you." He gave up trying to pick up the gun and grabbed a nearby vase to hurl it at Sophie. Sophie easily dodged it. "You're so not a gentleman," Sophie taunted, almost angering Clayton to death. In the next second, he lunged at her. He desperately wished he could kill Sophie right there and then. There was no way he was going to let her off easily. Yet, just as he threw himself at her, Sophie kicked him squarely in the stomach. She didn't even exert much force. Clayton collapsed onto the shards of the vase, and blood soon covered the whole floor. "Why are you so clumsy? Can't you see shards all over the floor? I know you want to die, but you don't need to do it this way, right?" Clayton fumed. He tried to clamber to his feet, but his attempts were futile. Sophie's kick had been a heavy one. All he could focus on at that moment was the agony that spread across his entire body. Right then, Willow struggled to her feet and picked up the gun from the floor. Then, she aimed it at Sophie's head. Clayton was baffled by the scene. "So I made the wrong move. Willow's relationship with Sophie is indeed terrible." Sophie furrowed her brows. "What is this idiot going to do this time?" "Sophie, you've always looked down on me, haven't you? You've always thought of me as a joke." Willow snarled. Sophie didn't even want to reply to Isabel's accusation. "So you want to kill someone with a gun, but do you even know how to use one? Does she really think that anyone is capable of killing someone?" "Sophie Tanner," Willow warned, her tone laced with warning. "Even now, she's still looking down on me. Don't you know that I hate people like you the most? You're always so full of yourself. You always think that you're the best and that no one can compare to you. Who do you think you are? Why do you think you have the right to look down on me?" Sophie remained silent. She didn't even want to engage in a conversation with an idiot like Willow. "Why, you say? It's because you're an idiot and I'm not." Even when Willow was pointing a gun at Sophie's head, Sophie was still calm and composed. "Let me give you a piece of advice. Get lost and stop trying to make your presence known. Grandpa will probably be worried sick if Willow is sent to jail. He's old, and he won't be able to withstand such a blow. That's why I made arrangements for him to be sent to the resort." "Ha! Even now, you're still being so stubborn." "Well, I've lost everything now, so I'm going to let you have a taste of what it's like to be me. Sophie has always looked down on me since we were children. Regardless of everything, I'm going to teach her a lesson this time." Meanwhile, Clayton, enduring the pain, climbed to his feet. He then walked over to Willow and said with a smile, as expected of my fiancé. You're still on my side even at a time like this. Do you see this, Sophie? You're such a failure in life. Even your own sister wants you dead. Clayton had finally regained his confidence at that moment. Willa, give me the gun. Don't worry. I'll take you away from here. You wanted to live a wealthy life, right? I'll give you that too. At that, Sophie's lips curled into a mocking smile. What an idiot. I really can't expect anything from Willow. She's always surprising me in all kinds of unpleasant ways. You're still looking down on me. Willow shrieked, losing her mind. I'm going to kill you for this. She had been sensitive to the difference between her and Sophie since young. Thus, she had done everything in her power to earn her parents' affection and perform well in everything. She did all that to garner her family's attention. Willow, give me the gun, Sophie said, knowing that it would be dangerous, for Willow didn't know how to use a gun. And you've always wanted to use me, right? You never loved me. Instead, you looked down on me too. Willow's fury only grew more intense as she stared at Clayton. If you didn't love me, why would you want to get engaged to me? Don't you know you've humiliated me? Willow questioned. She had been walking on eggshells, trying to get into his good books, but his betrayal was what she received in return. Clayton's face paled when the gun was aimed at him. I came today to take you to get our marriage certificate, didn't I? Don't listen to her. She's trying to sow discord between us. We can get married any time as long as you say so. Ha! How can a murderer like you possibly be worthy of me? I can't believe you're still thinking of marrying me. Keep dreaming. I'll never marry a murderer. A dangerous glint flashed past Clayton's eyes at that. Who told you that I'm a murderer? You don't even have any evidence. How can you say such nonsense? Clayton growled out. There was no way he was going to let others call him a murderer. It was Sophie's turn to watch the drama from the side. So this is how idiots fight against each other. Oh, just ignore me. Please carry on. Really, the two of them can just treat me as if I'm air. Tristan and Felix were waiting downstairs when a gunshot rang out upstairs. The two men panicked, and they promptly rushed toward the stairs. Mr. Tristan, it's dangerous. It's best for you not to go up there. After finding out about Tristan's identity, there was no way the police were going to allow him to risk his life. They would be doomed if anything were to happen to Tristan. Get out of my way. Damn Clayton. I'm going to skin him alive. How dare he hurt Sophie? Eustace was worried about Sophie as well, so he followed suit. Meanwhile, both Yale and Charmaine did not dare to approach the stairs. They knew that someone was wielding a gun upstairs, and they were afraid of dying. Who do you think got hurt? Yale asked. Charmaine, who was injured as well, didn't feel like playing the guessing game when Yale asked her that question. How am I supposed to know? We can only hope that Sophie isn't hurt, or no one would be able to withstand Mr. Tristan's wrath. They even thought that Tristan did not care about Sophie in the past, but they were proven wrong that day. Judging by the look on Tristan's face, it was obvious that he cared about her. He probably kept their relationship a secret to protect her. Tristan and Felix were the first to reach the second floor. The moment they arrived, they were greeted by the petrifying sight of Sophie covered in blood. For a moment, Tristan thought his heart would stop beating. I shouldn't have waited downstairs. I should have come up here right away. If I came up here immediately, she wouldn't be hurt now. Tristan had never been so afraid in his life. He had been through many things in his life, but even when he was on the verge of death, he never felt fear like this before. Tristan's hands trembled as he didn't even have the guts to approach Sophie. He didn't want to face the fact that Sophie had been hurt. When Sophie turned to see Tristan, she noticed his ashen pallor. Furrowing her brows, she was puzzled. What's wrong with him? Is he feeling unwell? With that thought in mind, she walked over to him. Why are you here? Instead of answering her question, he wrapped his arms around her. Where are you hurt? Is it painful? I'll take you to the hospital right away, he hoarsely whispered. Mr. Tristan. I must have frightened him. He has always been bold and fearless, so I didn't expect to see such an expression on his face. Sophie's heart ached. Mr. Tristan, I'm fine. How can you be fine with all that blood on you? Save your breath. I'll take you to the hospital right now. Sophie blinked in confusion. This isn't my blood. I swear I'm not hurt. Really? You're not lying to me, are you? Why would I do that? This is Clayton's blood, Sophie pointed out coolly. Don't worry. No one can hurt me. It was only after Tristan checked her from head to toe and found her completely unscathed did he let out a sigh of relief. Sophie, you had no idea how scared I was when I heard the gun go off earlier. It took me so long to find you, so how can you make me this worried about you? Didn't I tell you that you have to come to me for all matters? I can solve your problems. Why must you put yourself in danger again and again? Sophie pursed her lips in silence. What should I do now? He seems pretty angry. It's just Clayton. It's impossible for him to hurt me, so I came alone. There. Don't be mad anymore, okay? I promise I won't do this again. Sophie was never a patient person, but when it came to Tristan, she found herself patient enough to slowly explain things to him. Hey, now I'm fine. Didn't you check me over earlier? I'm completely unscathed. Okay. I'll settle the score with you when we go back, Tristan said. He was not going to let the matter slide just like that. He had to make her remember her mistake. Otherwise, he was sure that she would do something similar in the future. At this rate, he would end up dying from a heart attack at a young age. Right then, Eustace and the other officers caught up. When Eustace witnessed the interaction between Tristan and Sophie, a swell of melancholy rose in his chest. He had always known that Sophie was a capable young woman. Yet, even when his subordinates jokingly asked him to court her, he had never felt that way before. At that moment, however, the sight of her treating another man with such a tender attitude made his heart flutter. Sadly, I doubt I'll ever have a chance of being with her. After Tristan pulled Sophie aside to get her to sit down, he walked toward Clayton, who was bleeding from his chest. Apparently, he was not going to die anytime soon. Therefore, the officers who had just come upstairs did nothing to tend to his wound and pretended they didn't see anything. Since Mr. Tristan wants to teach him a lesson, what can we do? We'll let him do as he pleases as long as he doesn't kill Clayton. What are you trying to do, Mr. Tristan? There are officers here. You can't do anything out of line. Clayton shrieked, finding Tristan as terrifying as the devil himself. His only hope was for the police to take him away as soon as possible. That way, he would not need to endure Tristan's wrath. What are you doing? I'm a murderer. Why aren't you arresting me and taking me away? Clayton would rather have the police take him to the station than suffer Tristan's fury. Yet, it was as if Eustace and the other officers did not hear him. Some even turned away to look out the window, humming a tune. All of them shared a similar thought. Why do we need to help him? He's a murderer, and he had this coming. You. Clayton trembled in fear and went on his knees, begging for mercy. Mr. Tristan, I'm sorry. Please let me go. Nevertheless, Tristan was not going to let him off the hook. Even Felix turned away, for he couldn't bear to watch the cruel scene that was about to ensue. Clayton is going to get a beating for angering Mr. Tristan. Willow inhaled sharply when she saw Tristan, a man who carried himself like a noble at all times, beat Clayton to within an inch of his life for Sophie's sake. She, too, began quaking in her boots. Is Mr. Tristan going to beat me up like this for how I treated Sophie earlier? The only sound that could be heard in the mansion was Clayton's cries of agony. Sophie knew that by the end of it, Clayton would be on the verge of death. Even though Tristan did not seem like he was exerting much force, the parts he hit were the weakest spots on a human's body, and naturally, the most painful spots. He hasn't forgiven me for putting my life in danger. I wonder what he's going to do to me. When Felix noticed that Clayton was grievously injured, he stepped forward to stop Tristan. That's enough, Tristan. If you keep this up, you're making things difficult for the cops, Felix said, thinking that Tristan was almost done venting his anger. Eustace, have them take him away. Clayton murdered someone, but it was still up to the court to give him a sentence. Take him away, Eustace then said to the officers. A few officers promptly came over to pull Clayton up. Even though the man was already close to death, the officers still handcuffed him. Clayton Zales, you're now officially arrested by the police. Clayton was brought away in no time, and just like that, the condescending Clayton Zales of Gypsdale was doomed. It was unlikely that he would ever be released from jail. In the meantime, Willow was still trembling in fear. What are they going to do to me if that's what they did to Clayton? If Mr. Tristan finds out that I pointed a gun at Sophie's head, I'll be as screwed as Clayton. Thus, Willow kept her head low, not daring to look at Tristan. Yale, who only dared show himself after the police took Clayton away, immediately went to Sophie. What happened, Sophie? Why are you covered in blood? Are you hurt anywhere? I'll get a doctor. Sophie rolled her eyes. She could not help but wonder if the man was really her father. How is he always this laughable? I'm fine, but you still have to get a doctor, said Sophie, because both Charmaine and Willow were hurt. Sure. You don't need to worry about it. I'll get one right away. Mr. Tristan, is your hand okay? Asked Yale concernedly when he noticed blood on Tristan's hand as well. However, Tristan chose to ignore Yale. Felix, I'll let you handle things here while I take Sophie back with me. To that, Felix immediately nodded in response. All right. You go back and rest. I'll take care of things here. Don't worry, Felix said, although he did not think there was much left to do. Ms. Willow, we'll need you to come to the precinct with us. We have some questions for you, said the last policeman at the scene. Willow could almost cry when she heard the police officer. I didn't do anything, and I don't know anything. Dad, I really don't know anything at all. With wounds all over her face, Willow looked wretched, and she was genuinely afraid of being taken to the precinct. Willow, the police just need you to assist in the investigation. You have nothing to fear, reassured Yale. Really? Sophie sneered at Willow's reaction. She was bold enough to hold a gun just now. What happened to that bravery of hers now that she's to be taken to the precinct? What a joke. Give us a minute. I need to speak with her alone. Tristan did not think that was a good idea. What else does Sophie have to say to Willow? That woman is the embodiment of selfishness. Seeing how reluctant Tristan was to give her some space, Sophie reached out to take him by the hand. Wait for me down there. I'll be there right away. Okay. Nobody thought Tristan would agree to Sophie's request. Make it quick. With that, he went downstairs, leaving Sophie and Willow alone in the room. What do you want, Sophie? Asked Willow helplessly because, at that moment, she truly feared her sister. I just want you to know that you should stay in your lane if you don't have what it takes. I'm only letting you off the hook this time because I don't want Grandpa to be sad. But if you try anything again, nobody will be able to protect you from me. After giving her sister a piece of her mind, Sophie left. Willow wanted to look strong, so she did her best to keep herself standing straight. However, as soon as her sister walked away, she collapsed to the ground and broke into tears. I'm a failure. My whole life is nothing but a failure. The police only took Willow away with them after Sophie came down. When Charmaine saw that, she immediately got anxious. My daughter is a victim, officer. Where are you taking her? Questioned Charmaine, worried for her daughter. We'll need you to come with us to assist in the investigation too, Mrs. Tanner. I have to go as well. The place that Charmaine needed to go the most then was a hospital. Mrs. Tanner, we'll send you to a hospital first. But after that, you have to come to the precinct. Charmaine had never been through anything like that. She started to get nervous. Please, officer. We're victims. There's nothing to worry about, Mrs. Tanner. We just need you to assist in our investigation. To that, All Charmaine could do was nod in response. Meanwhile, Tristan drove Sophie back to Wisteria Apartments, where she could shower to clean off the blood covering her body. "I'm fine, Mr. Tristan, really. Look how much blood you're covered in. You should take a shower." Sophie thought Tristan should, at least, change into fresh clothes first before he lectured her. "Sure. Go ahead and take your shower. We'll have a good talk afterward. What's there to talk about?" In the face of Tristan's fury, Sophie could not help sighing inwardly. Just when Sophie was about to step into the shower, she got a call from Mark. "Don't worry. I'm home now. I saw the news. Clayton was arrested." Since Clayton was a thug with influence in Gypsdale, Mark wondered if Sophie was the reason the man was apprehended. "Yeah, so you can sleep well, knowing that nobody will dare harm Sunny and the others from now on." Mark knew he and the others were why Sophie put in so much effort, especially when Clayton was involved. "You're a fine young woman, Sophie. I should have been the one protecting everybody." Mark vowed to himself that he would keep everyone safe in the future no matter what. When Sophie heard that, she broke into a chuckle. "Sure. We're counting on you." As the heir to the Emerald Gang, Mark did have what it took to make that promise. "I'm just glad that you're not hurt." Only after hanging up did Sophie proceed to shower. She enjoyed a comfortable, warm shower and changed into fresh clothes before taking her sweet time to dry her hair with a towel instead of a hairdryer. However, no matter how long she dragged it out, Sophie knew she would eventually have to face the inevitable. Sophie had no choice but to go out with her phone in the end, and as expected, Tristan was already waiting in the living room. She walked over and sat beside the man, who did not look well at all. "You don't look so good. Are you feeling unwell?" Tristan shook his head in response. "I'm fine. How are you fine when you look like that?" Sophie instantly got upset with Tristan because she found it unbelievable that he would treat his own well-being so lightly. "Tell me where it hurts so I can take a look." "I'm okay, really." When Tristan noticed how upset Sophie was, he quickly added, "Maybe I just caught a cold. It's nothing to worry about." After hearing that, Sophie immediately placed her hand on the man's forehead and realized it was indeed slightly warm. "How long has it been? Why didn't you ask the doctor to come over?" "You're a doctor, aren't you?" inquired Tristan rhetorically as he leaned on her shoulder. Sophie was still wondering how she would respond to Tristan's questioning just then. However, after seeing him like that, she could feel her heart soften. At that moment, she learned what it was like to worry about someone. "I'm sorry for worrying you." Even though that was not Sophie's intention, she did worry Tristan nonetheless. "I won't do it again. Don't be mad." Tristan was impressed by how much the young woman had changed. "Not only does she know that I'm still mad, but she also knows how to make me feel better. I think I have a little headache." The man did not want to worry Sophie at first. However, after seeing how much she cared for him, he wanted more. "I didn't take you for an attention seeker, Mr. Tristan. Imagine how others would react if they saw you like this." Sophie was surprised to see that side of Tristan. "Why should I care what they think about me? It's not as if that has anything to do with me. I only care about what you think." To Tristan, no one besides Sophie mattered. He could not care less about others' opinions of him. "Okay, you don't have to care what others think. Just lie down while I get you some medicine." Sophie assumed there was cold medicine at home. However, before she could walk away, Tristan grabbed her hand from behind and pulled her back to him. "That won't be necessary. I just need some rest," said Tristan because he did not like taking medicine. Standing beside the man, Sophie looked down at him and questioned, "You're not telling me that you're afraid of taking some meds, are you?" "Of course, he has to take medicine since he's sick, not to mention that he has a fever. Cold medicine is useless. Whether I take it or not, I'll still need 2 or 3 days to recover." Tristan understood that he would have to depend on medicines if he suffered from other illnesses, but he only caught a cold. It's completely unnecessary to take medications for something so trivial. Being someone who had studied under Barney for some time in Horrington and was about to study medicine, Sophie knew Tristan had a point, so she let him have his way. Fine. You don't have to take any medicines if you don't want to. Sophie then returned to the couch. Maybe it was because of his cold that Tristan lazily rested his head on Sophie's thighs and made himself comfortable. In response, Sophie embraced the man so he could lie down more comfortably. Are you sure you don't want to go to bed instead? I think you should just go to bed. Will you go with me? Tristan would be more than happy to do as suggested if Sophie were to join him. Sure, let's go together. Forget it. I'll just stay here. I don't want to move. After thinking about how he would start getting ideas in bed, Tristan quickly changed his mind. That's a bad idea because I'll have a hard time trying to control myself. Are you sure? I'm worried you won't be comfortable here. Sophie thought that the couch was too small for the 180-centimeter tall man. It's fine. As long as I have you by my side, nothing else matters. Sophie could not help but wonder when Tristan became such a sweet talker. Then close your eyes and rest. Sophie would have Tristan take medicine if he did not get better by evening. But I don't want to close my eyes. I want to keep looking at you like this. The sick Tristan was acting somewhat willful. However, there was something charming about his stubbornness. I told you I'd stay with you, didn't I? You need to rest if you're unwell. Fine. Seeing how serious Sophie was, Tristan decided to listen to her and shut his eyes. With her hand in his, the man did not take long before falling asleep, and just like that, he was out for more than an hour. Even though her legs had gone numb, Sophie did not want to wake Tristan. To others, Tristan was a highly respected man who could do whatever he wanted in Gypsdale. However, to Sophie, he was just an ordinary man who was also susceptible to fatigue and illness. She wanted nothing more than to care for the unwell Tristan then. Only after sunset did the man finally awake. He was somewhat embarrassed to have slept for such a long time. I thought I wouldn't fall asleep. Tristan, being the disciplined person he was, had never expected himself to doze off like that since he usually worked at that time of day. No matter how sick he got in the past, he would never fall asleep. It's okay. You needed the rest, reassured Sophie, who thought it was only normal that Tristan slept for so long. He doesn't have to be strong all the time. Sometimes, he just needs to unwind. When Tristan sat up and noticed that Sophie's legs had gone numb, he was heartbroken. I'm sorry. I should have woken up sooner. Tristan immediately began rubbing Sophie's legs for her. You probably can't feel your legs right now. You don't have to apologize to me. Whatever I do it because I want to. Remembering how much Tristan had done for her, Sophie did not think what she did was even worth mentioning. Tristan could no longer control himself when he saw how understanding Sophie was. Immediately, he wrapped his arms around her and pressed his lips against hers. Sophie was stunned by the sudden kiss at first. But slowly, she learned to enjoy it. Don't do that again. You'll only break my heart. Tristan could not bear to see the young woman uncomfortable in any way. Since Tristan was unwell, Sophie decided to make some soft food for dinner. What do you want for tonight? Even though Tristan was ill then, he was not about to neglect Sophie. I'll make some risotto so we can have dinner at home together. Sophie knew she could not rely on Susan since the housekeeper was still on leave. Now that school's out, I probably won't need her. Besides, I'm still not used to having other people in the house. Do you know how to cook? I don't want you to hurt yourself. Maybe I should just order a delivery from the Crown. Although Tristan did not have much of an appetite because of his illness, he wanted his skinny girlfriend to have proper food. Don't you underestimate me? I know a thing or two about making risotto. Tristan hugged Sophie as he said, That's not what I meant. I just think it's dangerous for you to be in the kitchen. What if you get burned? It was not Tristan's intention to look down on Sophie. He was sincerely worried about her getting hurt. Am I really that dumb to you? Tristan immediately shook his head. What kind of question is that? That word doesn't even apply to you. Tristan did not think anyone could claim to be clever if Sophie was considered dumb. Then stop worrying and wait here patiently. With that, Sophie rose from the couch to fetch Tristan a glass of water before heading into the kitchen. How hard can it be to make risotto? I have the internet. After referring to a recipe, Sophie prepared some rice and cooked it with just the right amount of water. The young woman had always been precise in everything she did, and cooking was no exception. She ensured that she followed the recipe to a T. Only after turning off the stove did Sophie walk out of the kitchen. It's almost done, so get ready for dinner. Really? Believe it or not, I'm looking forward to it. Tristan got excited since that was the first time Sophie had cooked for him. Even though it was just risotto, he could not wait to try it. Mr. Tristan, do you wish I could cook? Sophie thought that was what every man wanted. A wife who knew their way around the kitchen. At that moment, Tristan had Sophie resting her head on his thighs. No. I just want you to be yourself. Why would I need her to cook? There are so many people in this world who can do that. We have chefs, don't we? Sophie and Tristan nestled on the couch while watching television together. Sophie seldom watched any dramas, but she would watch variety shows sometimes. At that moment, she was watching a variety show with Tristan when Felix called him informing him to handle some issues at the company. Sophie overheard the call and frowned. Tristan's still feeling unwell. Felix, can't you settle it yourself? She voiced her concern directly since the call was on speaker, and she was quite familiar with Felix. Well, I wouldn't have called if I could settle it myself. Now would I? You think I want to disturb you too? Felix really had no choice. If not, he definitely wouldn't have made this call. Felix knew Tristan's temperament all too well. Now, Sophie was the only one who mattered in his mind. Felix wouldn't have a good time either if he interrupted their time alone. All right, I got it. I'll be there right away. Tristan hung up the phone call. Indeed, he needed to handle certain matters. Seeing his reaction, Sophie sighed, knowing that nothing she said could persuade him to stay home. Don't worry. I'm fine. It's merely a slight fever. I can even bear sicknesses that are worse than this. Mr. Tristan, I know you're busy, but it's also important for you to take care of your health. Besides, it's already after working hours. Why is something still happening at the company? Who is preventing my boyfriend from getting adequate rest? Fine. The risotto's cooked. Have some before leaving, Sophie insisted. Since the risotto was prepared by her, Tristan didn't refuse. Each of them had a bowl. She even took his bowl of risotto over and blew on it to cool it down, as it was hot. To be honest, Sophie, I think it's quite nice to be sick now because you'll take good care of me. This feels great. Sophie shot him a glare. You're not a child anymore. Why would you say such a thing? What's nice about getting sick? Promise me you'll stay healthy and stop getting sick. Although sickness and death were inevitable in life, she just didn't wish to see him get sick. Okay, I promise you. Is this enough? Tristan replied. When the risotto was cold enough to be consumed, Tristan began eating. This is quite delicious. He started praising her right after he had just taken a bite. Hearing that, Sophie was rendered speechless. It's just risotto. How delicious can it be? He's too supportive. After finishing the risotto, Sophie started preparing Tristan's outfit. He stood beside and watched her choose his outfit from the wardrobe. A smile appeared on his face. She looks like my wife when she's choosing an outfit for me so seriously. This thought alone made him feel extremely blissful. Having chosen an outfit, Sophie placed the clothes on the bed. Get changed now. Then, she saw how happy he was. A tinge of sorrow filled her heart. He's Tristan, a man who can have whatever he wants. Yet, he's so easily satisfied at this moment. What are you thinking about? I'm thinking that when we get married in the future, we'll be the happiest people on earth. I feel glad and blessed as long as she's here. Sophie didn't have the heart to deny his words after seeing his joyous expression. You should get changed now. Help me. Sophie only had to shoot him a glance for him to stop pushing his luck and admit defeat. All right, I was just joking. I'm changing now. You don't have to get out. I don't mind you watching. Sophie was at a loss for words. I know you don't mind, but I do. I can't bring myself to stay here and watch. At last, Sophie left the room and got changed as well. After Tristan came out of his room, he noticed she was already wearing a new set of clothes. Why did you get changed? Are you going somewhere? I can drop you off first. Tristan thought she had something else to do, so he insisted on fetching her. I'm not going anywhere. I just think it'll be boring to stay home, so I'm coming with you. Sophie wanted to know who was interrupting his rest. You don't have to come with me. You should rest after having such a long day. What if I insist? All right then. Let's go. Tristan never said no to whatever she wished to do. Sophie couldn't help but laugh when she saw his reaction. He really spoils me. She felt extraordinarily blessed at that thought. After getting to the underground garage, Sophie asked Tristan for the car keys, then opened the door to the passenger seat. I'll drive today. Tristan had no objection to her arrangement as he got into the passenger seat directly. After closing the door for him, Sophie hopped into the car and drove to Lombard Group. Sophie, there must have been a misunderstanding. I only have a slight fever. Although her acts of service made him happy, he didn't want her to worry. I know that. She was fully aware of that. All right then. Looks like there are consequences for acting pitiful. I still made her worry. Sophie drove all the way to the underground parking lot of Lombard Group. Then, she took the elevator and got to the 90th floor with Tristan. Felix saw them as his savior as soon as they arrived. You guys are finally here. Someone's attacking our system right now. All of our cybersecurity engineers are here, but I'm not sure if we can defend our network. That is how the world works. There are always someone better and many talented people out there. Sophie frowned. Who's always trying to cause trouble for you? This wasn't the first time such a situation had happened. I can't even keep track of the enemies I've made. Tristan was already used to dealing with these issues. I'll go take a look. Sophie couldn't help but want to teach the opponent a lesson. After all, the only way to keep Tristan safe was to find out who the culprit was. There's nothing you can do to help, Sophie. You should just stay here and rest. Felix thought it was pointless for Sophie to go inspect the situation. Most of the cybersecurity specialists were top hackers. It would be impossible for Sophie to get anything done if those specialists couldn't even settle the problem. Mr. Northley, I'm only going to see what's happening. I'm not trying to do anything. You don't have to be so worried. It's not that. I just think they're too busy right now. Don't go over and cause them any more trouble. Felix. Tristan warned him as soon as he heard what Felix said. Felix rubbed his nose awkwardly. Fine. That's not what I meant. And I shouldn't have said that. That's exactly what you meant. It's all right. I'll be the bigger person and forgive you, Sophie said magnanimously. Felix didn't know how to respond. This is miserable. Why is my life so difficult? No more next time, Felix. Tristan didn't want Felix to treat Sophie that way, even if Felix was his best friend.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.